I'm Javier Hakeem, and this is Harking Back, a podcast about the pop culture of a lifetime. Whose life? Mine. I'm going back through every year I've been alive and finding out what was going on in that year. This week, it's 1988. I was 6, the same age that my daughter is right now, and I can tell you with 100% certainty that my daughter at 6 is clearly more intelligent than I was at 6. I've just got a feeling, and I don't remember being 6 that much. I had trouble with things. I can't remember what. But yeah, I'm looking at what my daughter's doing, and I'm like, yeah, there's no way I was this clever at 6. Maybe it's just parents' bias, looking at her through rose-tinted glasses. Maybe it's not, but 6, we're both the age, and so this episode is very special for me for that reason. Anyway, what was going on in 1988? Oh my god, I can't wait to get to the movies, songs, and video games of this week. Oh my god, I've just realized I've forgotten to find out who the person of the year was. I will do that on the fly. All right, but some other things that happened in 1988, like the Calgary, Canada Winter Olympics. About this Winter Olympics in Calgary, Canada didn't win a gold medal. Holy shit! How embarrassing is that? You host a Winter Olympics and you're Canada. I mean, that just shows you how polite Canadians are. They host a party and they're like, no, you have the gold medals. You go for it, okay? Is that a Dakota accent? I don't know. I can't do a Canadian. I can't do it. Anyway, things that happened at this Winter Olympics. You might have heard of a guy called Eddie the Eagle. He was at the 1988 Olympics. If you don't know the story, he was this British guy who wanted to do ski jumping. And he was kind of a bit shit at ski jump. I mean, like, look, you have to be... I mean, if you can ski jump, I think you're pretty fucking good at ski jumping. Like, if you're not dying while ski jumping, you're good at ski jumping. Like, no one does ski jumping for fun, right? No one ever goes, me and my group of mates went ski jumping this weekend. It was great. We only lost 2 friends. Anyway, so this guy from the British Isles wanted to be a Olympian, and I don't know. My research goes as far as I've watched Eddie the Eagle, the movie starring Taron Egerton, and a little bit of light Googling afterwards. Anyway, he wanted to be a ski jumper. He managed to do it because the barriers were so low, I guess because they thought, hey, no one's going to ski jump unless they really want to. Anyway, he went in there, he competed, he fulfilled his dream, and immediately after that Winter Olympics, they changed the rules so this shit could never happen again. So Eddie, good on you for flying through there and slamming that gate shut right behind you. Also in this Winter Olympics, the Jamaican bobsled team competes. They didn't do very well. But fuck it, they're Jamaica. What are they doing in the Winter Olympics? That is foresight, my friends, to take like Jamaican sprinters and put them as the driving force behind a bobsled team. I wonder if there was like a less appealing pitch from somebody having the same idea. Like, okay, I see what they did with that. What if we get a country that's really good at like sweeping and we enter them in the curling and people are like, Bob, shut up. This is problematic, mate. All right, just shut up. Anyway, of course, we all know about this from the movie Cool Runnings. I want to talk about it now, but I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it because I know it's gonna come up later. And also, as we're going through these episodes now, I think we're up to episode 6. I know that I'm very likely to repeat myself on some things. So what I want to do is avoid that now, because if I start talking about it now, I will totally forget that I talked about it and talk about it again when it comes up when I research whenever that movie came out. 92, 93, something like that. Anyway, we all know about that. Also, in that same year, the Summer Olympics in Seoul. Yeah. By the way, I did what? The Winter and Summer Olympics in the same year? They used to do that. They used to do that up until 92, and then they went, "This is stupid, guys. Come on, let's spread it out a little bit." But the Summer Olympics was in Seoul, Korea. They added Taekwondo this year. I mean, that's got to be a nice little leverage. Okay, we'll host it, but you got to give us our national sport. I think it's pretty cool that a national sport is a martial art. Taekwondo, this is the first year I realized that the reason Taekwondo and Judo can be in the Olympics is because they're standardized. It's not like Kung Fu or Karate where there's like so many different styles of everything. Like Judo is Judo across the world and Taekwondo is Taekwondo across Korea and parts of America. Nowhere really else does Taekwondo, do they? I don't know. I can hear all the Taekwondo school students right now going, yes, there's a huge school in Australia and New Zealand. I'm sure there is. I don't know. I did karate, so I've got a little bit... We look at Taekwondo as a little bit like dancing. I'm sorry. Oh, what a prick. What a prick. Anyway, in the Summer Olympics, they did this really cool demonstration of Taekwondo where they did, a Mexican wave, but with smashing boards. It looked fucking cool. It looked very cool. Very good. What else happened at the Olympics? This is the one where the dude in the diving hit his head on the board. Ah! I remember this was the first time hearing about it, and then they played the video. And I remember this is the first time I was like, I actually don't want to watch this, and I looked away. I don't want to see a guy going for an Olympic dive and smacking his head on the board on one of the early, lower boards down. No! No. Anyway, his name was Greg Louganis. Anyway, he won gold. Imagine that. Imagine fucking up that bad. Like, the worst thing you can do is diving, hit the board on your way down, and he comes back and wins gold. Where's his movie? I don't know. I was trying to think of what they could call it. Like, boarding. No, I don't have it. I'm just going to move on. Also, there's Roy Jones Jr. Do you remember that famous boxer? He was in this Olympics. He lost the gold medal match, even though he smashed the other guy completely. But it went to decision, and the Korean guy won it. It was a Korean challenger, and the ref even said to him before he raised the other guy's hand, he was like, I can't believe they're doing this to you. It's because that's what we call corruption, people. Corruption. All right, what else is happening in 88? Koosh balls were hugely highly selling toys. Remember koosh balls? If you don't know what a koosh ball is, you take a really thin rubber band, you cut it in the middle so it's one big long rubber string, and get a whole bunch of them, and like kind of tie them all together in a core. So like imagine like a 360-degree wig made out of rubber bands. That's a koosh ball. All right? And that was it. It was a little bit stretchy. That was its appeal. And also you could get it in different colors. That was kind of the major selling point of most things in the 80s. Like, would you like it in a different color? Those are our features. I had a koosh ball, and we was like, what do you do with it? You throw it, you look at it, and you kind of rub it on your face a bit, and it feels weird. And looking back, it was probably covered in like some carcinogenic plastic coat. I don't know. You don't see them around these days that much. There was a televangelist in 88 called Jimmy Swaggart, and he was one of these like, go and give me your money for the Lord. And he got caught with a prostitute, right? Ha! I love it when this shit happens. And he repented on TV, and he cried, and he said, I have sinned, Jesus, and blah, blah, blah. And then promises to do better, and then he gets caught a few years later with another prostitute. Fuck these guys, man. If you are stupid enough to listen to these guys and give them your money, you deserve to be fucking bankrupt. Also, 88, Jimmy Falwell, the case. This is the People versus Larry Flynt. I don't know too much about this, but like Hustler magazine ran a fake ad about this dude, Jimmy Falwell, who I think was an official of some sort, about him getting on with his mum, which is like, Jesus Christ, Hustler. Really poking the bear. And they went to court, and I think Larry Flynt, Hustler, won. And I know they made a movie about it with Woody Harrelson. This is all I found out. Hustler went to court. 88, some TV shows that came out. Murphy Brown. Remember Murphy Brown? Yeah? Big sitcom in the 90s or the late 80s. I think I remember it because it was the first grown-up thing I think I ever watched. And I was like, look at me. I'm watching this adult thing where I don't get any of the jokes. I was much more into Denver the Last Dinosaur. Oh, yeah. Did they get him in the UK? I loved him. And we got him on like Saturday morning cartoons. Easily one of the best theme songs. Denver, the last dinosaur. He's my friend and a whole lot more. The premise was some kids dug up a dinosaur egg in their backyard, as you do. And Denver, the last dinosaur, which is just a mishmash of all the dinosaurs. Like, he walks on his hind legs like a Tyrannosaurus, but he's got a long neck like a Brontosaurus, and he wears sunglasses, visor 80 sunglasses, and plays electric guitar. That's what he loves doing, of course. That's great. In 88, Home and Away started airing. Home and Away. Oh my God. Okay. Secretly, it's an Australian soap opera, and secretly, New Zealanders love Home and Away because our own soap opera, Shortland Street, is just a bit shit in comparison. Like, it means well, we try our best, but Home and Away is far and away better as well. The reason I never got into Home and Away until Annie and I moved in together. The first time we moved in together, we had a spare TV, and we put it in our room. I've never had a TV in my bedroom. Some kids did. I would always find that weird. Anyway, we had a TV in our room, which we never used, except on Sunday mornings. We'd wake up kind of hungover and just lie in bed, as you did before you had kids and you were young and just moved in together. And that's when Annie would watch the Home and Away omnibus, where they take all the episodes that have aired on like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and they chuck them in one big special on Sunday morning. And I would kind of like doze in and out of consciousness while she watched it. And I didn't realize that I had clearly picked up a lot through osmosis, because one morning, like just sitting there dozing, something happened and I just bolted up right out of bed and I just said, I can't believe Leah would do that to Jack. And I realized, like, oh my God, what have I become? What the fuck has happened here? And Annie just looked at me and said, one of us. One of us. At 88, Michael J. Fox marries Tracy Pollan, a co-star from Family Ties. They're still married. They're still married, by the way. You get so used to celebrities marrying and divorcing. I think they got married, because they were quite young at the time. This is Michael J. Fox. I don't know. This is around the time he makes Back to the Future, or just after. No, just after. He made Back to the Future like 85. I've done this. Anyway, I think when people get married when they're young, they have a better chance of staying together than celebrities that get married mid-career. And I have a theory that, like, when you're a celebrity, especially an A-lister, you kind of have a lot of shit done for you, / you get your way a lot of the time. And when you marry someone, there is so much fucking compromise that has to happen. And when you get two A-listers that are used to both getting their way, there is zero compromise and shit just doesn't work. That's my theory. I have been proven wrong. I will be proven wrong. But I bet you will find a lot of cases of this. Whereas when people are young and they get together, like when Annie and I got together, we were quite young. Like, I was 23. She was just turned 21. Can you believe that shit? Anyway, she's the one that convinced me to like quit my job as a software engineer and pursue a life in the entertainment industry, do some comedy. And because of that, she was there and celebrates every little victory. And we've been there on the journey together. Whereas, for instance, when I do shows with other comedians who are single, this happens all the time. A single comedian, we're at a club and we travel a lot, so we're away from our hometowns. So we'll be in some town or some city and we'll do the show, and single comedian does very well, and then you go out and you can pick up in the club so easily because you've just been on stage, you've done well, you've made everyone in the room laugh. There's a little window there in the club where you go out there and you are very attractive to people. These single comedians absolutely use this. And then they get with someone, and if they start a relationship, it starts with the girl going, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm with her. He's so funny, entertaining. And then they realize, oh, you are never here. You're working every Friday, Saturday night. You live in a different town, and it just falls to shit. Yeah. Whereas if you get together and you kind of are there with the journey all together. Anyway, I think you know what I'm saying. And also to the research I found to prove my own points here, Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis also get married in 1988, and they get divorced in 1990. Michael J. Fox marries his wife in 88. They're still together. They're at the start of their careers. Anyway, make of it what you will. In 88, Flight 243 flying over Hawaii, the roof tore off. You think things are bad these days with the doors flying off? The fucking roof came off a Boeing 737. You're worried about a door in my fucking day. The roof came off. The roof comes off a Boeing flight at 24,000 feet. Very sadly, one flight attendant is sucked out and dies. Everyone else lives. Wear your fucking seatbelt. All right? I used to take my seatbelt off during flights, just to get comfortable. I leave it on these days. All the time. I sometimes take my seat with me to the bathroom. Anyway, they said, so the pilot manages to land the plane while the people are all on suddenly the world's worst roller coaster. The reason for it was wear and tear and shoddy inspections. Come on, people! Why are doors flying off these days when a roof came off in 88? That same year, smoking is banned on domestic flights. Probably because they said, okay, that's it. We want to... Clearly, it was the hot air pushing against the roof. Smoking is banned on domestic flights, even though you will still get that weird ashtray on every armrest in a plane for the next 20 years until they phase those out. In arts news, Jackson Pollock, this sold, what was the name of it? The piece was called Search, and it sold for $4.8 million in 88. Picasso, his Two Clowns piece sold for $38.5 million, and 3 Vincent van Gogh paintings were stolen in 88. Did some research on this. 28 Van Goghs have been stolen since 88. Come on, people. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. Matilda is written by Roald Dahl. It comes out in 88. This is a fantastic book. It's amazing. I read all the Roald Dahls and I turned out fine, I think. Really? I don't know. You could be the judge on that one. Is it funny that like a few years ago there was this big Roald Dahl controversy about some racist views he had said or something. The guy was born in the First World War. Of course, I think he's going to have some outdated views. All right, I'm not saying they're right. I'm just saying they're understandable. The guy was from the previous, like almost 2 centuries ago. Almost. He was 16. He was born in 1916. He was almost born in the 1800s. Like, yes. Can you believe he was racist? Yes, absolutely. Totally can. Wrote great books. All right. They've taken some things out of his books these days, like words like fat and other things. They're changing them. If you've got a copy of a Roald Dahl book, keep it safe. You'll have the original. Howard Stern in 88. Howard Stern, the shock jock DJ. He has his first pay-per-view underpants and negligee party, making it essentially the world's first Twitch stream. In 88, British pound notes are phased out and replaced by £1 coins, and shopping trolleys were never the same again. Oh my god, this grips my shit. When you go to the supermarket in the UK, more often than not, if you want a trolley, you've got to put a £1 coin in the trolley because they're all chained together, and you've got to put a £1 coin in there to release the trolley at the end that you can use. And then when you put it back, you've got to find another trolley to connect your trolley into so you can get your £1 coin back. And sometimes they've got different sized trolleys, so when you go back out to the car park, there is just like they've put smaller trolleys, had to click into bigger trolleys into small, and they're all, because they don't fit together, they're all kind of like in this weird kind of trolley orgy, and it's, you got to get in there and wrestle your chain in there to get your £1 coin back. Fuck this! Like, clearly people were doing things with trolleys that were like making them go, no, we've got to chain the trolleys up to stop this sort of shit happening. But it's so fucking annoying. Like, especially if you have to park way away, and you park and you empty your groceries, and then you look around and there's nowhere for you to put your trolley, and you're like, do I just leave the £1 in there and abandon the trolley? And you're like, no, then the trolley thieves win. So you've got to go all the way back and plug your trolley into the queue. Ugh. Anyway, I'm saying it would have been a lot easier with the £1 notes those days when trolleys were just strippers and you just slipped them in there. What am I talking about? I don't know. I was trying to make a joke about that, but I'm just clearly too angry about the trolleys. In 88, pubs in the UK are allowed to stay open for 12 hours a day, giving British people a venue for part of their daily drinking. Good on you, UK pubs. Movies! Yes, I can't wait to talk about movies from 88. Movies come out in 88. Things like They Live. By the way, I haven't seen They Live. This is the one with Rowdy Roddy Piper, where he's got these special sunglasses and you can see, like, aliens through them. But it's got that great line where he walks into the bank with his shotgun. I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum. And I'm all out of gum. It's a great line. Short Circuit 2 comes out in 88. Loved Short Circuit. Loved Johnny Five. I have a theory that this movie is going to be remade, or the franchise is going to have a reboot very shortly. The robot still holds up, even to modern standards. Johnny Five. He's so incredibly charming. One very problematic thing about Short Circuit 2, there was an Indian character in there who years later I found out was actually a white guy that put on brown face and played an Indian and put on an Indian accent. And I was like, at the time, what was I, 6, 7? I didn't find it offensive because I didn't know about this shit. And I don't think, do I think he did it because he hates Indian people? Because it raised, no, we just didn't know that this was horrendously culturally insensitive. But nowadays we do. All right, so it's with the weird filter, I look back at Short Circuit 2 and go, oh, I loved that incredibly problematic movie. You know what I mean? Isn't it weird when you love something and then you find out something about it that is now, by today's standards, making it very problematic, and you have to tell yourself, no, you can't like it anymore, but your brain's going, but I have core memories that say I do, and you go, no, you can't anymore. I just find that little friction a bit hard to process. All right? God, I expect to be cancelled any second now, but I hope you know what I mean. What else comes in 88? Bloodsport, Jean-Claude Van Damme. I think this is like one of his breakthroughs. Like, this is the first time he's like kind of holding court. I think this is after Kickboxer. Anyway, it's the same fucking movie. It's Jean-Claude Van Damme, like, being nightmarishly flexible. Crocodile Dundee 2. This time, it's more Australian. The villain in this one is like a Latino drug dealer. And my flatmate, Nick, at the time, would always give, at the time, when we first moved to London, we lived with a friend called Nick. And he would always say that I look like the dude. And I was like, fuck off, mate. And then we went to this party where we had to dress up for it, and I was wearing a white hat. And he showed me a picture of Crocodile Dundee villain wearing a white Panama hat. And I was like, son of a bitch, we do look alike. And we're both Latino. In 88, Beetlejuice comes out. Michael Keaton works his ass off in this one. And he's barely in it if you actually look at the runtime of Beetlejuice in Beetlejuice. He nails it. I can't believe they got this guy to be Batman later on. This shows his range. They're bringing out Beetlejuice 2. I fucking hope it's as good as Maverick. That's a problem with Top Gun Maverick. Maverick comes out, it's a sequel 30 years later, and everyone suddenly goes, oh my god, it can work. It can work. And suddenly they're all coming out of the woodwork. Beetlejuice 2, I'm sure there's going to be some other ones that come up. Speaking of Tom Cruise, Cocktail comes out in 88. If you haven't heard not Rich Wilson, oh god, Rich Hall. Rich Hall's an American comedian who does an amazing Tom Cruise movie analogy piece of stand-up. I'm not going to ruin it here. Go Google Rich Hall, Tom Cruise. And he nails Tom Cruise movies in the 80s and then has an amazing topper on it. It's a fucking brilliant piece of stand-up. Go check it out. Beaches comes out in 88. Oh, this movie! Oh, I'm tearing up just thinking about it. Beaches is a movie about two girls that meet when they're young and they have a lifelong friendship. And it's fucking beautiful. I watched this because my sister watched it. And like I told you, my older sister got to make a lot of decisions about what was made and played in our house. And Beaches was one of those. And it's one of those ones I was like, what is this? And then secretly I was like, that is amazing. And also it's got Mayim Bialik, is it the chick? Who was famous for playing Blossom later on, but even more famous these days for playing Amy Farrah Fowler in The Big Bang Theory. She is a child actress in this, and she fucking nails it. Like, she plays a young Bette Midler in this movie. Sorry, Bette Midler plays the... Anyway, her and Bette Midler play the same character, and they're both... I can't tell you who plays it better. I really can't. That's how good she is. Go check it out. 88, The Land Before Time comes out. Dinosaur movies where a T-Rex is chasing you. Jurassic Park. Wait, someone did it before you in 88. The Land Before Time. And if you've seen this, there's a scene in here where there's like a baby Diplodocus. Or Diplodocus, if you're one of those people. And his mum dies fighting a T-Rex to save him. And they have a moment where the mum's dying and Littlefoot, the little one, is going like, come on, get up. And like the mum dies and everyone's like, ah! And that is our generation's when, Bambi's mother died. You know, that whole, sorry, I just whacked the microphone. You know, that where were you when Bambi's mother was shot? Where were you when Littlefoot's mum was dying on a rock after having fought off a T-Rex? Yeah, you don't see that in kids' shows these days anymore. I don't know, maybe Up. Okay, anyway. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels comes out in 88. This movie is very special in my family because my dad laughs at this so fucking hard. We would watch this movie maybe once a year, once every 2 years in our house. And it was kind of just like we'd sit there and wait for Dad to start laughing at a bit. And it was always the same bits in the movie. And you could see him starting, like this bit in the movie would come up and you could see him starting to go, here it comes. And then he would fucking howl and I don't know if he ever knew that we were just laughing at him laughing more than we're laughing at the movie. And not in a like, haha, look at Dad. It was a joyous, like infectious, we're laughing how much he loves it. If you know. Anyway, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. I don't think they'd make it today because it's about two con men, Steve Martin and Michael Caine. By the way, I found out if you want to say Michael Caine in a convincing Cockney accent, you say my cocaine. And that's a good way to say Michael Caine. Michael Caine. There you go. Anyway, it's about con men. And at one point, Steve Martin pretends to be... I was going to say the R word, but I can't. He pretends to have learning difficulties to con people. They couldn't make it today. It's a fucking great movie. Twins comes out in '88. Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Remember this one? They play twins, and I was like, how does that happen? And I remember this broke my heart, because in the movie you find out that there were a science experiment where they wanted to genetically engineer the perfect human specimen, and that is Arnold Schwarzenegger. But the byproduct of all that is Danny DeVito. And in the movie, they tell the character, he has that realization. He goes, I'm genetic waste, right? Like, I'm just the worst, like what's left over after you make the perfect human. And I remember that's sad in the movie, but that was the first time I had the realization. He is a person that got cast in that who would have had to read that either in the audition or in the script. And they were going, oh, yeah, you are genetic waste. And we picked you because you are the best person to represent genetic waste. And I remember thinking, that's a person under that actor. That's the first time I realized that was happening. But Twins, very fun movie. Die Hard. Fuck me. Die Hard comes out in '88. Oh, yeah. Some things about the casting in this movie. Number one, it's Alan Rickman's first movie. Are you shitting me? Talk about being ready for it. Fucking nails it as Hans Gruber. I love that bit where he's just being very sarcastic. Where the guy, oh God, what's his name? Ed? Booby. That guy comes in to try and negotiate with him. And he says something like, I bet you're not here because you're two-bit thugs. And Alan Rickman goes, and you figured all this out on your own. It's amazing. It's just this sarcastic tone. I love it. Bruce Willis was not an action star at this point. He came from comedy. He was like in this series called Moonlighting. And when they cast him in it, everyone's like, no one's going to take Bruce Willis seriously as an action star. And look what the fuck happened. A couple of years ago in Edinburgh, the show before me in my venue, there was a one-man play of Die Hard. And it was done by a poet, so the whole thing rhymed. And fuck me, it was always packed. It was always packed, and then I'd go in and do my show, and it would be easily half the audience. Easily. The show was called Yippee-Ki-Yay. Good, loved it. The Naked Gun comes out in '88. I'm sorry to say, I never saw it. I never saw The Naked Gun. My parents kind of hated this kind of slapstick sort of thing, so I didn't get it. They weren't like they were against it. I don't know. I think they were more against the humor of the like some jokes were too adult in it, I guess. But as a result, I never saw The Naked Gun. I know people loved it. I loved other spoof movies like Hot Shots and Airplane. I fucking loved those. Maybe I should watch The Naked Gun. I don't know. I feel like a lot of clips have ruined it for me. I should watch it. It's a classic, isn't it? Willow comes out in '88. Remember with I've forgotten his name. Plays Ewok. Shit. I've done that thing again. It's going to come back to me. It's on the tip of my tongue. I'm not looking it up. It's going to come back to me. It will. It had Val Kilmer and... Warwick Davis! Yes, I knew it. Sorry, I could hear you guys screaming it. Thank you. This was filmed a lot in New Zealand. They filmed it in Queenstown, in Milford Sound, and in the Torongariro National Park. And we loved it. It was on the news again. I was like, hey, check it out. A big Hollywood movie has chosen to film in our backyard. And they can do whatever the fuck they want because we're going to be in a movie. Ha! And that's... I don't know. I'd like to think that people saw Willow and thought, yeah, we'll make Lord of the Rings here. That looks pretty good. All the snow scenes, I think, were filmed in Queenstown. Anyway, some film buff's going to come out and get me on that. Child's Play comes out, that horror movie. I don't like scary movies. I never watched Child's Play. Some kid tried to make me watch it at a sleepover. I didn't watch it. Did not watch it. The idea of your toys coming to life? Fuck that. As of this recording, England is still in the Euros competition in 2024. And the last game I watched with a friend at a pub. And I came across this video, which I thought was fucking hilarious. And it's got the Chucky doll. It's the bit where the lady lifts up the doll and goes, talk, damn it. She suspects that he's a talking doll. She goes, talk, damn it, I'll throw you into the fire. Say something. And the doll comes to life and they've dubbed over. And instead of him going like, fuck you, bitch, it goes, it's fucking coming home. It's coming home, England. Fuck off. Which is what English fans sound like. And I thought it was fucking hilarious. So England wins the match I send this video, which I think is hilarious, to my my kids' school's parents' WhatsApp group. Because I've been talking to some of the dads, face to face, and we were talking about the football. I think they will appreciate this hilarious video, and they did not. It got like one guy replying to it, and everyone else just conveniently blanked it. And I came home, and Annie said, doing a bit of drunken texting to the WhatsApp group. That was bold, and I was like, yeah, kind of regret that one, but fuck it. I will never share anything on that group again, to everyone's delight. In 1988, Akira comes out, the anime masterpiece. I saw this last year in IMAX. Fuck me, it was great. I could wank on about the animation was ahead of its time, and like the vision and the visual styles was groundbreaking and everything. But all you really need to know is, like, if you wanted an idea of how revolutionary this was, the bike slide shot. You know what I'm talking about? Just Google on YouTube Akira bike slide shot. And there's this famous shot where a motorbike is doing like a screech halt away from the camera. It's beautiful, and it has been done and stolen time and time again. When is it stealing, and when is it paying homage to? You know what I mean? Sometimes people just steal things, and sometimes people go, "Oh, I wanted to pay homage to this thing." You still stole it. Anyway, I think it's if you declare it or if you don't. If you declare it, you're paying homage. If you don't, you're stealing. That sounds like a pretty good rule of thumb on that one. Anyway, Akira comes out. If you know, you know. Police Story 2 comes out. I know this is a bit of a left field one, but I just want to let you know that I watched a shitload of Jackie Chan movies in my teens, and Police Story 2 was one of my favorite. Like, the movies were all kind of shitty, but you would watch them for the fight scenes. And Jackie Chan has this reputation of like being very resourceful and kind of like comedic with his fights as well. Just Google Police Story 2 Playground Fight, and this one is so quick and visceral, and it's threatening, and it's hardcore, and it has elements that make Jackie Chan, but it's such a fucking great fight. It's easily in his top 5 fights for me from Jackie Chan movies. If you haven't seen it, Google Police Story 2 Playground Fight. It's amazing. Top 5 movies of this year. As according to Box Office Mojo, number 5 is Twins. We've talked about that one. It made huge money. Arnold Schwarzenegger made a comedy, and it made shitloads of money. The guy was on top of it. Number 4 was Big. Remember Tom Hanks in Big? He's fucking nailing it. It's a little problematic because, he becomes an adult with the mind of a 12-year-old, and he has a girlfriend. I can't remember how much they got it on, but then that leaves questions at the end. Number 3, Coming to America. Solid. Eddie Murphy, top of his game in the 80s. Number 2, Rain Man. Holy shit, what a film. And you don't need me to tell you this because it won Best Actor, Best Director, and Best Picture at the Oscars that year. Again, don't think they could make it these days because Dustin Hoffman plays a severely autistic guy. And these days, would they be going, oh, we need an autistic actor? It's like when Bryan Cranston, or that French movie, they had a character who's paraplegic, so they can't move from the neck down. And people were going, why don't you get a paraplegic actor? How much acting are they doing? Can you find one first? And 2, how much acting are they doing? Do they have the experience to carry a movie? At one point, it's fucking acting. It's acting. Like, you're going to watch Backdraft and go like, oh, they should have got real firefighters. It irks me. It irks me, the stupidity of people. If there's one place where you can have people pretending to be something else, it's fucking acting. Yes, no blackface, no brownface, unless you're Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder, in which case it is satirical commentary at its best. But anyway, they couldn't make it again these days. Dustin Hoffman fucking nails it. Oh, my dad would do Rain Man impressions all the time, and even now, is that problematic? He's just quoting the movie. Number 1, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Fucking classic. I don't think they're going to make another one like this again. You don't really see a big... I don't know, I suppose they're doing a little bit of this kind of like animated mixed in with live action. I guess they did it with like Detective Pikachu and Sonic and a couple of others, but like this was the one that nailed it. There was another movie around the time called Cool World with Val Kilmer and Kim Basinger that had to get animation and live action, but this was the one. This movie was so funny. And it's made by Robert Zemeckis, who did Back to the Future, so you know you're in good hands. And Bob Hoskins nails it as this, attitude-laden cop Roger Rabbit was amazing. And anyone who ever said a cartoon has never turned me on has not seen Jessica Rabbit. To this day, still a sex icon. That movie is so good. And Christopher Lloyd is so creepy as fuck in that. Like, I kind of... Is it a kid's movie? It's not a kid's movie. What age is this movie perfect for? I'd say young adult. Yeah? Anyone that's not going to get freaked out by the scary bits in it. Damn it, I'm going to have to wait years before my daughter can see it. She's such a pussy on film sometimes. She was watching Finding Nemo, and I left her to it, and she comes in and she goes, it's getting scary. And I'm like, what's happening? What's happening in Finding Nemo? She goes, the dentist is scary. I'm like, the fucking dentist and Up? Are you shitting? Okay, fine. And you have to be, okay, darling, it's all right. Come on, let's go see what happens with the dentist. Anyway, those are the movies of 88. Oh, such a good time going down memory lane with those. Songs. Oh my God, this is going to run long, this podcast. But I've got so much to say about all this shit. You sent me on a rant. I'm going to try and be faster here. 88, Milli Vanilli comes out with Girl You Know It's True. They win Grammy for Best New Artist. Milli Vanilli, if you don't know, were a pair of singing shoulder pads. They're a German duo, and they got done for lip syncing. And they got found out because at a live performance, their CD skipped or something, or their tape skipped, I don't know. And suddenly they're on stage, and it just keeps looping, girl, you know it, girl, you know it, girl, you know it, girl, you know it. And they just kind of like sheepishly go backstage. They got stripped of their Grammy. Like, they're fucking victims of the industry. I feel sorry for them, but for the longest time, lip-syncing Milli Vanilli, like, the joke never got old. Sure did to them. Get Out of My Dreams, Get Into My Car. Fucking banger of a tune. It's by Billy Ocean. I always thought it was Lionel Richie. My mistake. Pour Some Sugar on Me by Def Leppard comes out. Straight Up by Paula Abdul. Fuck, I love Paula Abdul. I think she might have been the first singer I ever had a crush on. This song, Straight Up, Now Tell Me, Are You Really Gonna Love Me Forever? I reckon this is the perfect song for like an 80s detective Miami Vice style crime story, like driving at night, solving the case, playing this. Prove me wrong. Simply Irresistible by Robert Palmer. It's got that little anime whooshing in the middle of it that I can never unhear. 500 Miles by the Proclaimers comes out in 88. They wrote this song, never had to write another one again. I mean, I know they wrote other ones, and I know I'm On My Way was slightly a bit of a hit, but dined out on 500 Miles for the rest of their life. Straight Outta Compton by NWA comes out. An older brother of mine, a friend of mine at school, had the NWA CD, and we all used to listen to it and think we were fucking gangster. Yeah. At like 12 in Christchurch, New Zealand. And yeah, when we were singing along, it was, I don't want to talk about it. Groovy Kind of Love by Phil Collins comes out. We were such harder, yeah, we're like 12 and fucking hard, man. Did I say 12? 10. Groovy Kind of Love comes out by Phil Collins. I love Phil Collins songs. There's such a range to them. I love his voice. Red Red Wine, UB40. The Locomotion by Kylie Minogue, which is a cover. I realize that this is actually Locomotion. Like, not the locomotion, like the locomotive. It is Locomotion, which is like loco, crazy in Spanish, and motion. I wonder if she knew that. Always on My Mind cover by Pet Shop Boys. Every Rose Has Its Thorn by Poison. Fast Car and Baby Can I Hold You Tonight by Tracy Chapman. What a year for her. Both absolute bangers. The Right Stuff by New Kids on the Block. I mentioned this because I remembered when I saw this. When I came to New Zealand when I was 4 years old, we'd come from Florida and I had an American accent. And there was a babysitter that we had who was a huge New Kids on the Block fan. And she would get me to say things to her as if I was one of the band members of New Kids on the Block. Well, she would get me to say things like, can you say, hi, I'm Donnie from Times 2? And I'd say it in an American accent. And she'd go, ah! And looking back now, it's very problematic to get like a 5-year-old to be saying things that make you aroused. I don't know. The 80s. Electric Blue by Ice House. It's all over you. Electric Blue. I challenge you to find a more 80s song / music video than Electric Blue. There's a saxophone solo. There's a guy playing a keytar, like unironically, and he's like, fuck it, he's making love to the keytar. And the lead singer has a mullet that can only be described as atomic. It is the 80s wrapped up in there. And Fat by Weird Al makes it into the top 100. Again, couldn't make the song again. 'Cause I'm fat, really, really fat. That was, I remember seeing the music video when that dropped. I was watching some music video program and they said, now from Weird Al, it's, if you like Michael Jackson's Bad, you'll love his Fat. And I watched it and I laughed my ass off. It was so funny. I couldn't believe that someone had put so much, I couldn't believe it just kept going and going. I thought it was going to be like a little 10-second, ha, they've changed the word bad for fat. But it kept going. It did pretty much the whole song and I was blown away by it. All right, top 5 songs according to Billboard of 88. Number 5, Sweet Child of Mine. I always thought it was Sweet Child of Mine, but it's apparently Sweet Child O' Mine. Anyway, Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley. We've talked about this before. By the way, I love how he's leaned into it. That he's like, oh, okay, everyone loves this fucking song for ironic reasons. Okay, and he like sang it at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and he comes out and sings it, and he knows. But he's like, fuck it, I'll do it. I'll come out. How many other 80s pop stars get to say they could do this shit, Got You On My Mind by... sorry, not Got You On My Mind. Got My Mind Set On You by George Harrison. Need You Tonight by INXS is number 2. And number 1, Faith by George Michael. By the way, George Michael came out as gay in 1998, right? 10 years later. And George Michael had that Ricky Martin thing going on where everyone's like, oh my God, ladies love you. And if you look at the music video of Faith, they're clearly trying to like go, okay, no, we need him to be butch and macho. And what he's wearing in that music video is pretty much like the gay uniform. Like he's wearing a tight leather jacket, fingerless gloves, and silver-capped cowboy boots. Hello? And they're like, yeah, you better wear that to make yourself look macho. Whereas these days, that is like the gayest outfit you can put on. That was music in 88. Video games, like I've tried to find a definitive top 5 of video games, but at this point it gets, in my research, if you found a place, let me know. But in my research, it gets so complicated now with arcade machines versus home console, and also the Japanese market / the American market, the UK market, and the Australian release market. I actually can't find a cohesive worldwide sum up. They're all just like, here's what was going on in all these markets. So we're just going to talk about some games that came out at that time. Super Mario Brothers 2 and 3 came out in the same fucking year. What? Like, both were released in 88. However, Super Mario Brothers 3 was only released in Japan. And US wouldn't get it until 1990. They waited 2 years before they gave it to the US. That's for bombing us, you fuckers. Double Dragon 2 comes out on the Nintendo Entertainment System. I remember I wasn't allowed a video game console. I've talked about this before, and hence why I love video games now. But in the holidays, if I'd done well at school, I was allowed to rent out a console for a day. So I was allowed to rent out a Nintendo Entertainment System, a Nintendo. And Double Dragon 2 was one of the first games I ever played. And I fucking loved it. And back then, there wasn't internet to look up the moves or how to do things. You would just find out moves on the fly. I remember the first time I realized how you could do a spinny kick. And I was like, oh my God, Valeria, get in here. I learned how to do a spinny kick. And I could not replicate it for the life of me. But that was gaming in the 80s. I remember spending like a good 45 minutes on my computer trying to work out the difference to do a fireball and a dragon punch in Street Fighter 2. Because you only had like forward, down, right? And so sometimes I would do a fireball and sometimes I would do a dragon punch, and it was driving me fucking nuts. Yep. That's what it was like gaming in the 80s. Shinobi comes out in 88. Altered Beast comes out in 88. I remember Altered Beast was the first time I looked at a video game and just went, oh, it's a bit too grotesque. I could see what they're trying to... I could see right through the testosterone-laden, hey, you boys like pretending you're a werewolf? No, I don't give a shit, really. Don't really care. I found it quite boring, if I'm honest. Mega Man 2 came out. I would watch my cousins play this, and they'd go, do you want to go? I was like, no way, you're fucking good at this, and I don't want to embarrass myself. Also, around this time, a bunch of Leisure Suit Larry games are coming out. If you don't know about those games, they're kind of like a point-and-click adventure where you play a horny guy trying to get laid. I never played them, but I had a bunch of friends who had, and I was always thinking, like, because, I was 6 at the time. It's like, what is this? What are you playing? What's getting laid? What are you going to do? And, on these games, it would have just been, I'm sure they wouldn't have shown you shit. You just would have gone behind a closed door because of the graphical limitations of the time. It would have gone, game over, you've got syphilis. We had a PC at home, a nothing. What I remember is it had CGA graphics. If you don't know what CGA graphics were, it was you could have magenta, cyan, and white. Those are the colors that you had. We had things like Space Invaders, or a knockoff of Space Invaders. We had a game called Sopwith, which is like a little plane game. I didn't know how to land, so every time I played it, it was like, this is a suicide mission. And Battle Chess. My dad tried to get me to teach me chess, playing Battle Chess, where all the pieces come alive. And I'm still traumatized. Like, the rook was a big rock monster, and if the rook took the queen, he would just eat the queen. Like, she was screaming, and he'd just pick her up and just, like, eat her whole. And, like, the last thing you see is, like, her legs kicking as he, like, swallows them down. Still traumatized by it. Another one, like, if you got the knight to kill the bishop or something, they would hack off their arms and legs. It was fucking vicious. Chess is great. What was happening in my life? We'd moved into our house. I was going to Merrin Primary School. Our school colours were brown and gold, because those were colours to really get behind in the 80s. Not great. They changed them. Like, the year I left, they changed them because someone finally said, brown and gold, not working for us, guys. I think it's when I left, they suddenly changed to like jade and blue. And I was like, oh, that's way better. I remember, tell me if this happened to anyone else. We would play recorder, like, it'd be like, music time for recorder. We'd all go, oh no! Because if you didn't have your own recorder, and face it, which parent in the 80s was buying the kids their own recorder? They would bring out this bucket of recorders, right? It was like an industrial size looking paint bucket with the plastic lid. And it was full of disinfectant. And the recorders were just like submerged in this disinfectant. And the teacher would like reach in and grab like 5 and shake the disinfectant off and start passing them around, and then grab some more until everyone had a recorder. And what happened was you get the recorder to be wet from the disinfectant, and all you wanted was a recorder that didn't have teeth marks in the mouthpiece. If it was smooth, you were overjoyed, and like you started kind of getting to know the ones that had like, this one's got the big teeth marks, or this one's got a bit to the left. And then when you finished, you'd hand them all back to the teacher, and she'd just shove them in the bucket of disinfectant, and that would be put away until the next time you had to go through a horrendous music lesson. Did anyone else have this? What else happened when I was... Oh, God. This is already running late. I'm going to save... I'll tell you one more story here, and then I'm going to save the other one for next week. When we'd moved to New Zealand, my dad, he'd come from Nicaragua and like escaped a war. Let's just say he was a little jumpy about this new country. He used to sleep with a machete under his bed, right? For about the first 2-3 years that we were in New Zealand, because you never know, right? He just used to sleep with a machete under his bed. And I knew it was there because, something went under his bed one day. I found it and I was like, Dad, what's this? And he was like, put that shit down. And then one night, it was like a Friday or Saturday night, at around 9 o'clock at night, we suddenly hear this banging on our front door. And Dad goes, and we suddenly hear a lot of voices and a lot of shouting and screaming on our driveway. And the banging on the front door suddenly starts being added with this, help, help, they're trying to beat me up, help, help, help. And Dad tells me and Mum to like, get back. And he opens the door, and this teenager goes, they're trying to beat me up. And Dad looks behind, and there's like a party from down the street. These guys have chased this one guy down to our house. He's been knocking on the door, and more of the party goers are kind of gathered around going, fight, fight, fight. And Dad looks at this kid, looks at like the 8 guys behind him, and just goes, kid, get in here, and just slams the door. And the guy goes, yeah, we're at a party, they're trying to beat me up. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, my dad goes, I'm going to call you a taxi. And so we're waiting. There's people still on the driveway. This kid is shit scared. He would have been about 17, 18 or something like that, looking back. Anyway, the taxi arrives, but the taxi just gets to the driveway and sees like this party in the middle there and goes, I'm not getting out of my taxi, honks the horn. And so Dad looks at this kid and he thinks, if I just let him walk out there, he's going to get his ass handed to him, right? And so he goes, I'll walk you out. And as he's telling him this, I go, oh shit, Dad's going to be in a lot of trouble if he goes out there on his own. I bet he needs some backup, right? And so I suddenly remember, he's got the machete. And I race back, dive under his bed, and I grab the machete, and then I kind of run back to the door. And this is just at the point Dad is opening the door to start walking this kid out, right? And I run back and I kind of hold it out to him like a little scribe. And I go, Dad, do you want your machete? Right? So Dad's just opened this door, and all the people on the driveway would have just seen this Nicaraguan guy open the door, like with this other guy, and his son behind him is offering him a machete. And Dad turns around to me, and with I don't think he's ever talked to me like this again. He's never said it in this tone. He just goes, "Put that back," but just like the fucking devil was. It was like the voice from June, you know. Just put that back now. Like, you are going to get us all fucking killed here. Do you have any idea how much they don't like immigrants as it is? Without them going, machete wielding fuckers. Yeah. And then after that, I don't think Dad kept the machete under the bed anymore. I think that was my fault, mainly. Anyway, that's it for this weekend. This one's been a little bit longer, but I've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it. I'm really getting into, like, the meat of some memories, and, like, the movies and songs and video games are really inspiring a lot of memories, which is fun and therapy for me. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. If you like it, leave a review. If you don't like it, don't leave a review. I can't stop you. Do what you want. But if you've listened this far, you like it a little bit, clearly. Anyway, guys, I've really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for listening and sharing and commenting. I'm getting some comments coming through about some guy didn't like my Roger Moore comments, and I stand by them. So anyway, guys, I'm having a lot of fun with this, and I will catch you next time. Bye!